Light came first, not gently, just there, pressing through my eyelids like something that had been waiting longer than I had. When I opened my eyes, the ceiling didn't feel familiar. It didn't feel unfamiliar either. It felt unused, like I had arrived late to something that had already happened. There was a machine to my left, counting something in slow, patient intervals. My body felt like it belonged to the room more than to me. I turned my head. No one, not in the chair, not by the window, no jacket thrown over the back of anything, no half-finished coffee. No sign that someone had been waiting and stepped out for a moment. Just absence, complete enough that it didn't look temporary. There was a note on the side table. Folded once, placed flat like it had been left on purpose, not forgotten. My hand didn't want to cooperate at first. When I finally managed to pick it up, the paper felt heavier than it should have. 2 lines. We stop pain luck, no name. No explanation. But it didn't need one. I stared at it long enough for the words to lose shape and become something else. Just ink, just lines. My chest tightened before anything else did, not anger, not even sadness at first. Just pressure. Like something trying to move through a space that had already closed. I don't know how long I cried. It wasn't loud. There wasn't enough strength for that. It was the kind of crying that stays mostly inside, leaking out in small, uneven breaths. At some point, a nurse came in, checked something, adjusted something else. She didn't mention the note. Didn't ask where anyone was. Rest, she said, like that solved anything. Then she left. And the room returned to its original state, occupied, but not accompanied. Time didn't behave properly after that. It stretched, folded, disappeared in pieces. I slept, or drifted, or just lay there with my eyes open, trying to understand what had changed. Not that my father left. That part, if I was honest, didn't feel entirely new. It was the finality of it. The way it had been reduced to 2 sentences, as if the rest had already been decided somewhere else. At some point, I started wondering who was paying. The machines were still running. The staff still came in, precise and efficient. Someone, somewhere, hadn't stopped anything. That question stayed with me longer than the note did. When the door opened again, it wasn't a nurse. I recognized the lawyer before I recognized why he would be there. Same posture, same careful way of entering a room, like he already understood its boundaries. "You're awake," he said, not surprised. Confirming, I tried to speak, but my voice didn't arrive fully. He didn't wait for it. "There are a few things we need to clarify," he continued, stepping aside slightly. That's when I noticed the other man. He didn't introduce himself immediately. Just stood there, composed, hands loosely at his sides, observing without intruding. His suit wasn't loud, but it was exact. The kind of detail you notice without knowing why. The room felt different with him in it. Not warmer, just structured. "Your father made a mistake," the lawyer said, and there was something almost conversational in the way he said it. Not dramatic, not sympathetic, a statement. I blinked, trying to keep up with the pace of things moving again. "He assumed," the lawyer went on, "that discontinuing financial support would transfer responsibility." A small pause. "It doesn't." The man in the suit finally stepped forward. "Just enough to be part of the conversation. You're listed as a primary beneficiary in a trust established by your grandfather," he said. His voice was even, unhurried, separate from your father's control. The words didn't land all at once. They arranged themselves slowly, like pieces being returned to their original positions. Medical provisions were included, the lawyer added. Long-term. Comprehensive. I looked at the machines, the room, the steady rhythm of everything continuing without interruption. "Not because of him. Your father," the lawyer said, choosing the words carefully, "did not have the authority to terminate your care. His decision created exposure." Exposure, it sounded clinical. But it wasn't harmless. The man in the suit met my eyes briefly. "Not assessing, just acknowledging. There are obligations tied to that trust," he said. "Fiduciary ones. They were not upheld." I didn't ask what that meant for my father. Not because I didn't care, because, for the first time, it didn't feel like my role to manage the outcome. The lawyer allowed a small smile, not satisfaction, exactly. More like alignment. "He forgot who you really are," he said. Not in the way people usually mean that. Not emotional, not nostalgic, structural, documented, protected. I leaned back against the pillow, the effort of staying upright already fading. My body was still catching up to everything my mind was being handed. Nothing about me felt powerful in that moment. I couldn't even sit up without help. But something had shifted anyway. Not outwardly. The room was the same. The machines, the light, the quiet. Just the understanding underneath it. I wasn't here because someone decided I was worth keeping. I was here because something had already been put in place. Something that didn't depend on whether anyone stayed or left. The note was still on the table. I didn't ask anyone to take it away. It belonged to a version of the story that had already ended.